Hello friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Tish, this is Hampton, and this is Tish Loves Home. So today I'm going to give you my Christmas home tour. I have been working in this house for about 3 days. I guess that's normal. I asked some of my friends and it takes them all about that amount of time. You can probably tell my voice is starting to get I'm getting a little stuffy, and I was just bragging last week about how I never get sick. I never get this stuff anymore. That's what I get. So I thought I would just go ahead and do it before it gets worse, because I'm afraid it might. So this video, I am going to take you on a tour of all the things that I've done, and I'm going to talk about where stuff came from. I'm going to share with you all my thrift store things that I've used this year, and just kind of tell you some of the changes that I made that are different. I am going to do another video a little bit later, probably right after Thanksgiving, when I have the outside done, which that's going to be minimal, and it will just be a silent tour, and I will set that to music. But today I thought it might be fun for you just to kind of see, you know, all the little details and hear a little bit about how I did it, where they came from. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. The first day, I did a lot of just sitting there on my couch and looking around trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do. I also want to say a couple of things that just to keep in mind when you're decorating. I do think it's very important to edit, and what I mean by that is don't just leave out all your regular stuff and throw the Christmas in there with it. That's when it starts to look cluttered, and it just gets to be so much. Also, I will say, just because I have Christmas decorations, lots of them, doesn't mean I have to use all of them every year. And I did not this year. I've changed things up some. I didn't get rid of some things because I know, I may want to change again next year, but you don't have to use everything that you have every single year. So there is that. So let's just hop on into it. I'm going to start sharing with you in the dining room. We'll go around and I'll give you the tour. So here is my dining room. It is right off the front door, and then we have these French doors that go out into like a little courtyard. I call it patio area. I am going to put some Christmas things out there just a little, but I haven't done that quite yet. So this room is probably one of my favorite rooms in the house because I think it's very reflective of me and my personality. This year, if you've been watching me, you've heard me talk about, I wanted to add the red back into my Christmas because I just haven't done that in a while, and I'm loving it. Absolutely am loving it. So let me just share with you a few things on my table here. These dishes I have had for most of my married life. My mother gave these to me for Christmas one year, and it has, each of these little plates have the 12 days of Christmas on them. So I haven't used them, and I thought, I'm ready to bring those plates back out. And they also have the little glasses that come with them. They're just so sweet. And then it has the little bows around it. And then these little gold chargers, I'm really not sure where I got those from. Maybe Hobby Lobby, I want to say, not very expensive. And these red napkins were actually my grandmother's. And I remember her pulling those out at Christmas. And when I got the china cabinet that was at my mom and dad's house, these were in it. So I knew that I was going to use them this year. So that's where those came from. This piece, if you've watched before, this was my mom's tray. I always keep it on the table. This came from Walmart last year. I think they had some this year too, maybe. And then all I did was just take greenery, and I added Christmas balls in it, which really all greenery, candles, maybe some Christmas balls and ribbon. That's the main thing that you need. I mean, it just makes such a huge difference. And this is the runner I got at Target in the bullseye section. It was $5. And I'm thinking I can use that for lots of other things. Patriotic, Valentine's, lots of things. So I knew that it wouldn't go to waste. So there is a picture of the table. And usually I do have Christmas brunch here on Christmas morning. It's very doubtful that we'll be using these plates, but it's pretty for now. And then these wreaths I just put up. Somebody's cleaning my high windows for me, so excuse me if you hear that noise. These came from Walmart a couple years ago, and I just wanted a little touch of red in here, so I went ahead and added those. And then over here, I love these white ceramic deer. Had these for quite a while, and I have a friend whose mom had gifted these to our school, and we used them for several years and then gifted them to me because they're, they are ceramics. So you have to be really careful with them, but I love them in here. And then this tree came from a thrift store. And again, just greenery, Christmas balls, and I do have some lights in there. I'll probably put some twinkling lights in this eventually, because this will all stay for Christmas brunch, but haven't done that quite yet. And then I just tied some red bows onto the lamps. These lamps were not in here last year. They were in the den, and I did a switcheroo with my lamps, and so I think they look pretty here. This little pillow came from a thrift store. And then I think this pillow came from Ross. It does have a tiny little bit of red in it, but I thought it was pretty on that bench. And so that's just kind of a little look at this room. My little skates I usually hang from that mirror. And then I just had this little basket that came from a thrift store too, and that bow. Maybe that will change a little to go with my chalkboard. So this bench, I'm going to be honest with you, this is where we keep Hampton's crate that he has to practice crate time sometimes because he has a hard time at the groomers, and I keep it up here because I don't have to bend down. It's just easier for him, and it's kind of more like the way they put him in the crate at the groomers. But I also put him in it during storms because he gets very anxious, and it just comforts them, and he's at peace there, so that's usually where they go. But just my two little green velvet pillows there. And those, I think those came from like the Target's bullseye section. They were like $5 each. Start to see the garland on this side, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the den. And then this is my entryway table. This is new to me this year, if you saw that video. And I just love it. I think it's so pretty. I have one of my nativity scenes here, the blue and the white one, which it also, I got a straighten candle. It also came from a thrift store. This is one of my runners I already had, and then just again added some florals and things in and threw some ribbon in with it, and then added some candles, which I'm always straightening these candles. I got to put something in that. We'll move on. And I just think that's a very pretty little area. And then this is the little thing that I picked up at the thrift store for $2, and I thought that would be pretty in the reef above it. So there's a look at it. And I just have a little Christmas pillow down there. It's very soft and elegant. So from there, got the stairs, and then moving into the den area. This garland I got a couple of years ago. I used to do garland all the time on my stairs, and I kind of stopped doing it. I really think it's not full enough. I may get some more next year. I'm going to put that on my list, but it's pretty, up close. You can see it's definitely looks a little bit more realistic than some. And then I did incorporate my plaid that I wanted to use with my blue. And then on the ends, I have my bells with more of the ribbon. And then these I had gotten at the Target bullseye section for $1 each. And I just wanted to add a little bit of something in between. So those are there. And then the bows and stuff go all the way up. So that is the staircase. Simple, but it doesn't matter how simple it is, it still takes a long time to do. And then this sweet blanket was done for me by a grandmother when I was teaching, and I love her. And I like to keep it out and just, we do use it from time to time. It's the cross stitching, it's so pretty. So I just put it over here and just a soft little pillow. And then on my blanket ladder, we've got way too many Christmas blankets. I did get rid of a few, but I thought this one would be good, just kind of in between by this bench. And then just kind of glancing around, you know, pillows are always an issue for me for some reason. But again, all the Christmas blankets. I just tried to throw in this one to look kind of fun over here. There's my heating pad because I've needed it lately. Just putting in those colors with my little Rudolph pillow. And I think that came from Dollar General last year. And then those little green pillows, again, were Target Bullseye. They're really good for like little small pillows, like accent pillows. And I want to say it was probably $5. I have 2 of those, and I put them on my chairs sometimes too. And then in this chair, this little reindeer, literally when Trent and I first got married, I think we got him, haven't used him in years. So I just loved pulling him back out. And then added that little pillow. So on this couch, this is where I put the Amazon pillow covers. I love them. And they can be used, of course, you know, lots of different times of the year. The red pillows I bought at a thrift store. And then I already had that one. I think it was the Dollar General pillow for a while back. This is Hampton's little area. And then we had that blanket. And then I did put these little bows. These came from Walmart this year, like in the ornament section. I tied one of those on the end of these. I don't put stuff a lot on my end tables because y'all, we use them. I mean, like we put our drinks or snacks, all the things. So I keep those pretty bare. So that's the pillow work here with the heating pad. And then in the table in the center, this was a thrift store find recently. This red candlestick. I mean, I literally just got that a couple weeks ago. This little deer, I think Trent got this for me at Kirkland's when we first got married, or not long after that. We were in our little house that we built, our first house. We moved in on December the 23rd, and I had this little deer in the kitchen. I think that's all I had because, you know, we just moved in. Haven't used it in a long time, so that was fun to pull that out. And then just put some ribbon and a little tree with that. And then the mantle, this is my major work for this year. And I'm not trying to be boastful, but I do think it's beautiful. I do. I spent most of my day on Friday just focusing on this. I knew I wanted to make some changes, but you know, I have to play and I have to figure out kind of how I want to do it. And I do think it turned out really pretty. If you watched one of my earlier videos, you saw my little inspiration photo. And I just took that and kind of used what I had and worked around it. And I think it turned out really pretty. I'm going to get up a little closer so you can kind of see. So, you know, starting with all of my greens at the bottom, there are some magnolia leaves there. That was a new garland I got. I had these already. Those came from Ross, and I've used them a lot. I want to say they were maybe $7 a piece. They were not expensive. So there's one on each end, and then I put some of the florals in it. And then, of course, again, ribbon. You know, I love the ribbon. And added all of that throughout it. And then my bells I already had. I actually bought this garland this year, too, and I cut it in half and just did a piece on each side because I couldn't get it to lay like I wanted it to. So it really worked out much better that way. And then this picture of the nativity scene, this painting, is one of my favorite things ever. I got it at Kirkland's probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. And it is just so pretty to me. It was not framed, but I actually already had that frame. So it just gave it a whole new look. I think it's beautiful. And then already have my candlesticks. These red candles, thrift store. I got a bunch of them in a thrift store, so I wanted to add the red up there. And then, of course, our stockings are over here on this side. These little red candle holders and candles, also thrift store very recently. They were very inexpensive, but I wanted a little bit on the ends. And then our stockings came from Etsy, and I've had them for a while. I made one for my son-in-law a while back when he joined our family. So his is in there too. And then I just put the little red bows around here. And then these are my, you know, battery operated candles. I'll just turn those on. We don't really use our fireplace a lot because it gets so hot upstairs. So I love having these. I just think they're so pretty and still kind of give you that illusion without burning us up. And then we always keep a little baby Jesus down here, and that star used to be on top of the tree. So for now, I just have that put there. But here's a good look at the mantle. I'm very proud of this year. It was a lot of work, not gonna lie, but I like how it turned out. And so from that, the tree also, it's a very big tree, too tall to me because we are little short people, but it's 12 foot, and I did it kind of based off the same thing. We got this tree last year. It is flocked, and I have the ribbons that are there. I don't know how well you can see, but at the very top, I'll try to do a really good picture at the end of all of it so you can see it. But then I just took the ribbon and ran it through. I did all of that first. I did the ribbons first and all of the red and blue balls that are on here. And then after that was done, I also added like all of these. And then after we did that, after I did that, then as a family, we put all of our little sentimental ornaments on it. And I think that they work really well with it because there is a lot of red and green on those. And so I just think they make the tree a little more personable. I mean, it's not just ribbons and, which I think that's pretty. It was pretty to me even without the ornaments, but these are just throughout the years ornaments that we collected. When Trent and I first started dating, we had a tradition of giving each other an ornament every year at Christmas. And we started dating in like, I don't know, 91. So we got a lot of ornaments on the tree. And then of course, we've given the girls ornaments that kind of reflect things about their year as well. So there's the tree. This tree skirt also came from Kirkland's. I just left that. It really probably could use a little different one, but I think it's fine. I don't put presents under the tree. I've never done that. I just don't want to crowd it up. We don't have a whole lot of room right here. I wrap everything at one time, and they just come out when it's time for Santa or time to go somewhere. But that's just typically what I do. And then on my shelves, I tried to, again, bring in some of the red. My sweet Aunt Debbie made this for me because she knew I was trying to do some red this year. That was so sweet of her. This was a thrift store find. I love this. Put a little tree back there. Recent thrift store find. These came from Joann's when they were having their after Christmas sale several years ago, and I just think they're so sweet. And then I just added some florals down there. And then around the TV, I just put some greenery. Hampton's little stocking that looks just like him. And then these deer came from Walmart probably 3 or 4 years ago. Still one of my favorite things. These were gifted to me by a student many years ago, probably 20 years ago, and I'm so happy to be using those this year. This is an ornament from Walmart this year because I was looking for some red. Just had some little Christmas devotionals there and put my little lamp on it. And this little tree came from Walmart Ross, I think last year. Thrift store, and then I added the bells and just a little bit of greenery. So that are the shelves. I'm looking for something really pretty. I'd love to do some art shelves on each side if I could find 2, even if I had to paint it. Maybe with a cabinet at the bottom. So I'm looking still. I have an idea for over here, but just haven't completely found what I'm looking for yet. So let me just let you kind of look all the way around. I am really, really thrilled with how it turned out, but it's just a lot of work, if you decorate, pulling everything out, figuring out what you want to do, especially if you're trying to change your theme a little. It just takes time, and I guess since I'm not feeling the best today, it probably just wore me out, to be honest. Okay, heading into the kitchen. More changes. This is actually a scarf. It was an infinity scarf, and I cut it to make a runner. I got this at a thrift store recently. You might have seen that. It was like 25 cents. And I knew that these colors would be perfect for what I was trying to do this year. These little deer, I gave these to my mom when she was, here many years ago. And I have always loved them. And this year, my sister's kind of doing new things at her house. And so I got those from that little stash because I thought I could use them here. And they're perfect for the island. I just love them. And then these little deer, we've had these forever. I used to put them beside Trent's side of the sink, and we love them. So again, just a little sentimental thing. And then just one of my little trees, probably a Target bullseye section tree, and a candle on my little cake stand there. So I think that turned out really sweet. This table, I went ahead and added my Christmas dishes again. For some strange reason, I had 8 of these napkins. So I used 6 in the dining room and I only had 2 left. So I'm going to figure out what to do here. But these glasses were my grandmother's, but my Aunt Berta, my great Aunt Berta, they used to be hers. So if anybody in her family is watching on the Greer side, these were hers, and she'd given these to my grandmother. And when my grandmother moved out of her house to live with my mom, we went through and I asked her if I could have these, and she was so happy to give them to me. So I think they're really pretty in here with these dishes. This was a thrift store find, thrift store candles. And then this came from Ross last year. I already had this. I'd used this in the fall, and so I just added the greenery and the Christmas balls again. And then this little plant is thriving inside. I've had it since the spring. I don't know what it is. Don't know what it's called. Don't know really what I'm doing right, but it's doing great in here. So I just said, let's let you stay. Maybe you'll survive. It was already in this blue pot, so I just put the red bow. Had this little snowman forever, and think he's so sweet. I think my mom gave me that one year. And this is the little pitcher I found at the thrift store recently for $3, and we used that for the water in our ice machine, which is so loud. I turned it off right now. And I've recently bought this little gold tray at Ross. I think it was $7. And then, hello to the Santa. So this Santa, I've had it in the attic probably since about 2008, 2009. I bought this for the den above the fireplace from Ballard Design. I think that's the name of it. It's a catalog. And I absolutely loved him. But when I've got the nativity picture, I wanted to put that up. So I just haven't used him. And for some reason, this year I thought, I wonder if my Santa would work in here. And y'all, he fits so perfect right here. And with the gold and the gold in it, I just thought he's just great. The color scheme works well. So my husband was so happy to see him. He's like, the Santa's back. Because like I said, he's been up there for a very long time. But I love him. And then, of course, this is my little paper towel holder that I got for my birthday. And you change these out. So that's my little Santa one. And then over here, had this little tree for a very long time. It came from, I think Kafko outlet store. It wasn't very much. This is a thrift store find. Added a few balls, some greenery. And this little Santa pick came from a client. I think that's a sweet area. And then y'all know I love my shelves up here. We had to work on these for a while. I didn't want too much up here, but I ended up taking everything down and starting over, and Caroline helped me with that, but I think they turned out sweet. And then y'all, I'm loving this plate rack. It has absolutely been one of my favorite things lately. Did take everything off and then just rebuilt it. And it took me a while to get it like I like it. And I did break a little plate in the process, but we got it. So up here I have my Rudolph. Well, he's not really Rudolph, just my reindeer tray. That was a Walmart find a couple of years ago. This is something that I think I picked up for Hope and Justin, but they haven't been able to use it. Use it yet. So I liked it up there and just added a few little things. This Christmas book was from a client. This was my plate I got this year at Walmart. He's been around for a long time. Just added that. This was one of my thrift store plates. added a little bit of red and greenery. One of my little dish plates I had, the green plate, and then this pretty little notebook came from Walmart. I'd picked up a couple of those a while back, and I thought that just added a little touch there. So I love this. This has been so much fun for me seasonally to change it out. Okay, so moving around over here, this is the little tray I recently bought at TJ Maxx. You might have seen that video. And I had so much fun with it. It just turned out so cute, I think. Thrift store find, Walmart ornament. Had these salt and pepper shakers for a long time. Walmart ornament, Walmart ornament, Walmart ornament. And I just think it's cute as pie. This was from a client they were getting rid of, and I just tied it with a red bow. I had this out already for the fall. This was out for the fall, so I just changed it to this. This cookie jar was from a sweet, sweet friend years ago. I haven't used it in a while either. I love him there. And then I added one of my little trees. I want to put a little lamp over here. I've got to find that. This was a little clay thing that my mom had, and I just think he's so fun. So I just stuck him over there for now, but I am going to add a lamp there. So that's this little area. Still got my scent pot going. I'm enjoying that. And then I already had this out for the fall, so I was like, I'm just going to leave it. This was a thrift store find this past year. So was he. So I just added a little bit of extra red and went on with it. So I think that's about everything in the kitchen. Did put my little gingerbread thing there. I did add a little bit of greenery on that chandelier. It just has a really different feel than anything I've had in a while, but I will tell you, I am enjoying the red for sure. So back here in this hallway, I got this piece from my dad's. It was my mom's recently. And I used to put a tree back here, so we had to make changes with that. But I painted it. It's got the wallpaper in the back. Still don't have the glass in it, but I tried to put some things back here that just, a lot of this stuff is hers, and then just kind of soft colors. So this pretty little tree was hers. And then I added this little teapot, which was a thrift store find. That was Mama's. Thrift store. I think that might have even come from the Dollar General one year, but it's so pretty. Thrift store Santa. These plates, I think I got those at Hobby Lobby a few years ago. I only got 2 of them with different patterns just so I could display them. Then I added a few little trees. That's my grandparents, who I loved it dearly and still miss them. And then just added a few little things down here, and the kind of the pinks and the blues, and have that little Santa down there. So that is back here. So if you've been with me, laundry rooms are a thing for me. I have to have some things added in here every season. This rug I got last year. I thought it was cute in here. This came from a thrift store. That cute little hand towel set. I had these up in here last year and loved them. Just little bullseye wreaths that came from Target several years ago. And then these are just little ornaments that I had. And then I always put something seasonal on my shelves. So that was a thrift store find this year. I already had these. I think that, again, Target dollar section. Just tied some red bows. And this was a thrift store find too, that little pottery Santa. So I just try to add a few little things. I put that up in here. That came from a thrift store. I've had it forever. Just a few little things to kind of keep me in the spirit while I'm doing all this laundry. And in the guest bathroom, not a whole lot. Did put my little Santa up in here. Thrift store. I'm not sure about that. I can't remember where that came from. Added a few little Christmas balls. And then that's another thrift store Santa. And that one's one I got recently. And then a little towel there on that. And then I did put my pretty little sign. This came from Michael's years ago. It was like 75% off when I bought it. So I just thought it was pretty in this space. And another thrift store Santa. and kind of see how that looks. And then, of course, I always put a little seasonal towel up. So that's it for in here. This wreath is going to end up going on the front door when I change it out. And I have another one I'm going to put here after Thanksgiving, but this is just another one of those sashes. I love these sashes from Amazon, and this one I can use for more than just Christmas. But I thought that was really pretty back here. I don't do a lot in my bedroom, but I did. I like to change this little center pillow. So this is one I've used in here several years, and I think it came from Target a few years ago. Y'all know I've got to always mess with something whenever it's just what I do. But it has the greens and the blues, so I think it's cute in here. And then I just added this blanket to bring in some of those colors. And of course I have the new curtains, the drop cloth curtains that I feel like kind of warm everything up. And then I did put this little tree over in the bay window this year. This used to be where I put the cousins' ornaments that we do every year, but I'm taking those to my dad's this year. It's kind of hard to see it in the daylight, but it does show up from the road at night. I didn't put anything on it, just a bow on top, but I think it's sweet there. And then just a little Christmas pillow on that chair. And then this was just some garland I had, and I thought, well, let me just throw it up there so we can see that, you know, from bed. So I did add that, but that's pretty much it in this room. Just a little bit of Christmas cheer. I don't do much in here either, but I thought this rug would be cute in the bathroom, and I stuck that little tree there. And Trent loves this little gnome, so I just thought that would be fun to have up in here as well. Thank you for watching. I hope that you got a little inspiration maybe to get started decorating for Christmas if you haven't already. I almost feel like I'm a little bit behind compared to what everybody else is doing. I do want to say, you know, one of the things that I love so much about YouTube is watching people from all over decorate in their spaces, because they're all so different. All of us have a different style, but they're so beautiful. And it's just fun. So I just encourage you to create your own style. Do the things that you love. And I will say I always feel like greenery, ribbons, candles, even like Christmas balls, those things can add so much to a space without costing a lot of money. I find myself more and more drawn to those over time. And I've enjoyed this year pulling out some of my older traditional things that I haven't seen in a while. And if you've watched the whole thing, you see so much of what I have are thrift store finds. And that's my favorite thing to look for in thrift stores, or like seasonal decor, because it's usually something unique and different, and it's just fun, and you don't spend a lot of money if you decide you want to do something different the next year. So the next video that I'll share will be after Thanksgiving. I'll do the outside, and I'm going to do just a tour with music, not me talking on the next one. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. And then we'll be getting into the whole gift giving and the wrapping and all of those things. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. I'm probably going to have a small little video down at the farm of what we do down there to celebrate. And hopefully I won't feel bad because I'm not feeling great right now, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks so much. Happy Thanksgiving, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.